forgive the messy growing and the bare face, but it needs to be bare for me to do this review kind of demo for you. And what I am reviewing is and this is really long overdue because I've had it for ages, it's the Luminess Pro system, which is an airbrush system. So it comes in this like clutch, which is called the Hello clutch or something like that, which is just this fancy wee silver bag. And then within the actual clutch itself is the compressor, the air compressor, which is this guy here, which of course can come up. And then it comes with the airbrush gun, which is called the stylus. So that's that guy there. So it's really sleek looking. It's quite a nice, it is a nice looking machine. Now I was sent this by the American branch of Luminess. Now there is a UK based Luminess as well. For some reason it's the American crowd who sent it to me in Ireland. So I was sent it without the European sockets, if you know what I mean. So I did have to go and get my own sockets. So beware that if you're in Europe and you're interested in this product, try and get it through the UK one. And then if you're in America, go through America, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is just tell you quickly what came with the actual kit. Now I've used this a good few times, and even though I've had it for a couple of months now, I'm still only getting used to it because I haven't been using it every day or anything like that. So it's just a case of you kind of have to practice at it. But airbrushing is something I've been really interested in getting into for a long time. And this is kind of a nifty, easy enough system to use. So it's good for practicing with, definitely, especially if you're a professional. So it even says on the stylus there, watch DVD first. So it did come with an instructional DVD, and it also came with this wee magazine here that just gives you all the wee tips on applying the bronzer and how to hold it and how far from the face to hold it and what not to do and what should be in it, and gives a few graphs of before and afters and stuff like that. So with the actual kit, it came with 4 foundations. Now they sent me the Fair kit, and it was the Ultra foundation, which is more of a glowy foundation. First of all, that wouldn't really suit me because I am combination oily, so it probably would be more for normal to dry skins, but it's grand like. So it comes with shade number 2, which is the pink shade. So even numbers are pink and the odd numbers are yellow based. Number 3, which even though it is yellow based, it's still not very yellow looking. Number 4 and number 5. Now the first thing that struck me about these is that they're very dark for fair shades. So I'll show you swatches of them now, of the first 2, because that's what I had to do to see if by any chance they would have suited me, and good God, they're really dark. So I'll just show you quickly what else came. It also came with a blusher, which is this scary looking pink yolk, but I'll kind of give you a look at that later. There was a moist primer, which is like a moisturizer and primer in one. These are all to be used through the airbrush as well. I got a boosted instant skin complexion enhancer, which is just kind of like a glowy primer, I suppose. And then these absolutely terrifying looking eyeshadows. So I haven't even tried the eyeshadows yet. That's like a really dark grape colour, lighter pink, and then a raspberry colour. Now we all know I'm a fan of purples and stuff on the eyes, but when it comes to these guys, I would have preferred to try something a little bit more natural, where you know, mistakes wouldn't maybe have been so obvious as to using these really dark colours. But I think I'll leave them for another video because I kind of want to know what I'm doing. Then it also came with the bronzer and brightening glow, which is kind of like the boosted, to be honest, I think. But I think the boosted was sent separate. It wouldn't necessarily come with the kit. Yeah, the glow comes with the kit and the primer, but the boosted, it is something separate that was just sent to me. Now I'll turn it on so you can hear what it sounds like. So you can hear the hiss of the air coming out, which of course, you know, that's just the air coming out. You have to pull back on this wee fella here to actually release any product that you put into the cup here. So the Pro one that I was given does come with 3 settings. There's a medium, a high and a low, and I'm going to put in the shade number 2, which was the lightest that came in the Fair foundation kit. Now granted this is pink, so it's not going to suit me straight off, kind of, I think I know that already. But as I'm just doing a swatch for you, I'm not going to put in too much, and I'm not going to like do it properly. It's just to show the colour of my skin. So I'm just going to put in 2 drops down along here, and you can see there I've got loads of blemishes at the moment, which, you know, obviously isn't the most attractive thing in the world, but it'll be good to show you how well the foundation does cover or doesn't cover, so we'll see that in a minute. So I'm just going to put a swatch of the first colour, which is number 2. So I don't know if you can see it there, but it's extremely pink looking on. Now obviously it wouldn't be that intense looking when if you were to put it on lightly all around the skin, but the tone is still completely off for me. So you know, it's not going to suit me. So I'm just going to run the rest of it through the gun by pulling it back all the way. The only time you pull this back all the way as well is when you want to clean it out. Otherwise you just do it about roughly half, but that's something you just kind of have to get used to, because it took me a few goes to get used to it. And then something that also came with the kit, empty bottle, and then I put a mixture of alcohol and water in it, and you pour that into this, and then to clean it what you do is you cover the top, pull this back so it bubbles up in the cup a wee bit, and that'll help clean it, and then I just spray it onto like a piece of tissue or a cotton disc, and that'll get rid of the rest of the residue in the cup. So now I'm going to go on to the second shade, which is number 3, and this is a yellow toned one. It is darker than number 2, so I'll just show you here. So if you can see there, they're really dark colours. Is the first thing that struck me for having in a light foundation kit. But I don't know, maybe, you know, because I'm in Ireland, I suppose there may be paler people here. I'm really not sure, you know, per percentage of population or whatever. But that's just to show you there. So obviously I couldn't go with, I'm just going to turn this off for a second. I couldn't really go with either of those 2 colours. So what I had to do was, I just bought one of the foundations myself, and I bought this through the English website, so luminessair.co.uk or wherever it is. And this is the Ultra foundation. I stayed with the Ultra foundation since they were all Ultra, just to kind of get used to them. I think if I was to go at it again, I'd go for the matte, because they do an Ultra foundation, they do a satin foundation, and they do the matte foundation. So as far as I know, the matte would be the best one for combination oily, because it dries to like a powdery finish. The one that I have, the Ultra Fair, is more of a glowy foundation, and then the Ultra foundation, and then the satin foundation is more of a dewy, so probably better for dry skin. But either way, I still went with the Ultra foundation. So it's this one here, number 1, and I got the big size because I figured I'd probably need to practice it a good bit. So I'll just clean this out again. And now I'm going to pop some of this number 1. So it says to shake for a good 30 seconds before application, which I didn't do with the other 2, but I suppose it's because the pigment and the carrier liquid it's in or whatever separates, which is normal for all these kind of foundations. Now these ones are water-based foundations, unlike some other airbrush foundations you can get. Like the MAC one I know is silicone-based, so that would be really good for oily skin and stuff like that. And you can get alcohol-based ones, which are quite harsh for skin, but they're there. So these ones are water-based, and they're mineral-based apparently, so good for sensitive skin. So I have some of the number 1 Ultra foundation in now, so that will be 1 shade down from this guy here, and I'm just going to put this, I'll stop talking so I don't get it in my mouth, but just put this to the side of number 2. Now I don't know if you can see there, but there's a big jump from number 1 to number 2, and of course number 3 as well. So what I found myself doing, even if I use the number 1 all over, it's not too bad, because you have to have a good few passes to get a good like medium to full coverage. So this, once it's blended in, it's actually okay, but you can see there's a massive jump between number 1, 2 and 3. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use number 1 and put 1 drop, like a wee drop of the number 3 in with it, and the reason being is because the 3 next yellow based one, even though it's very orange looking there, but just to take the real white tinge off this. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this off, and then I'm going to do a pass. I'm only going to do one side of my face for you, just so you can see the difference, because I've seen another few tutorials on this and it's kind of hard to see the difference between each. So I'll do the demo and then I'll come back and tell you any of my other thoughts on the system. So I'm going to put about 6 drops. There's already about 2 drops in there. So 3, 4, 5, 6 of the number 1. And then I'm going to pop in just 1 drop of the number 3. So just pop it straight into that. And then I'm just going to put this on the low setting, and then to mix the 2 foundations, and it doesn't really say this in the instructions, but you can do this. Just pull this back so you can see that bubbling there at the top. Where's the bubble? And that helps, just pull this back a wee bit until you hear it bubbling, and what that does is it just helps mix the 2 different colour foundations together. So that can be done like you would mix any normal foundations. So what it says to do is to apply the moist primer and stuff first, which you can go ahead and do. I found I just kind of prefer it over normal moisturiser, to be honest. So you could also put on the boosted first if you wanted, but this isn't going to show up on camera and there's no point really for the sake of my demo. So I'm just going to skip that as well and go straight into the foundation. So you want to hold it, it says like roughly the length of the stylus back again. And I'm going to put this on the medium setting. Now, from what I could gather, pressing it once puts it onto the medium setting, pressing it twice to the high setting, which is the blue colour, and pressing it 3 times puts it onto the low setting, which is kind of confusing, but you can kind of hear it as well, because this is pressing it once, and then when you press it twice, you see the compressor gets noisier, and this seems to be expelling a little bit more air. And then when you press it a 3rd time, it goes back down to being less air being expelled. So that's kind of just from figuring it out myself and paying attention to the DVD if you look at the colours that come on in the demo. So just going to put it on once and just hold it back around this far and almost start your hand moving before you pull back on this wee lever. And again, be careful not to pull it back too far. So I can see it coming out now, and I'm just going to put it more around my area that's like really full of spots. You have to be careful as well not to put on too much of this foundation too quickly, so it does take a lot of practice. Now I personally have issues with this foundation, which I'll talk through once it's on. Okay, so we'll say that's 1 pass now I've done in this general area. So what I'm just doing is letting the air kind of dry it so that I can go and do a 2nd pass, because you have to let it dry between layers or else it'll just get globby and it'll go weird. So that's 1st pass. Now straight off, I don't know if it pulls up on camera, but airbrush makeup definitely isn't for anyone with noticeable hair on the face. Now, I've never thought myself to be the hairiest person in the world, but I do have a wee bit of down on my face like most people, but it really clings to the hair, and I thought it was just me for a while, and then since kind of going on the internet and kind of asking people questions about it, apparently it's really common now that more and more people in telly and like presenters and actors and stuff actually shave their face, and I'm talking about women, or remove all that fuzz or like peach fuzz or whatever you call it on the face. Because with the combination of HD cameras and airbrush makeup, it just really shows up the face and it made them look really hairy. So that's definitely a downside. So I'm going to do a 2nd pass now. and I've stopped applying foundation. I'm just letting it dry again. Now one thing I've noticed as well is when you scrunch up your face, because you don't want to get it in your eyes, you'd nearly be better to try and close your eyes and like lift your eyebrows so that you're not scrunching up here, because when you scrunch up your face, if any little bit of the foundation gets onto it, it kind of shows off, not wrinkles, but you know, like if you were to do that and put on like eyeshadow, it would do that as well. It would show off like a little crumpled design. So that's kind of what happens with it, so be aware of that. And I'm just going to do, so you can see that there's the difference. So basically what it's done is it's evened out my skin tone a bit, and my freckles are less brown looking and freckly. So I'm just going to do another pass now. And that's all the foundation gone from the stylus. So I'm just going to dry that out. Now, so I'm just going to turn that off. So there you go, that'll show you, I'm sure you can see the difference between the sides of my face. Now, you saw how spotty I was there before applying the foundation, so it has lessened the look of my blemishes a wee bit. Like you can see, these ones are still really noticeable along my jawline, whereas those have lessened a wee bit. So it's actually pretty good for that, but I wonder, can you see, I don't particularly want to show my lovely hairy face, but I just want to show you exactly how it does look. So, I mean, you can try and gauge from that if you can tell how it looks, but I just feel like the down on my face, which I don't even notice on this side whatsoever without foundation, is really obvious now on this side. And then when I use normal foundation stuff, it doesn't notice it. I don't notice it here, because I suppose when you're putting on the foundation, you're patting it down with a brush, and with this there's nothing to flatten the hairs because it's air blowing around them the whole time, so there's nothing to flatten them down. But that's a demo of how to use it fairly quickly. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to show you about this blusher. Now the blusher, when I first tried to use it, made me look like I don't know what. I just looked like a clown. It is very, very pigmented, so you have to use so little, and I would advise for anyone pale like me, put in like 1 drop, like so. I don't even bother cleaning it out of the foundation, because to be honest, what I do with the blusher so that it can go onto my skin is to kind of water it down, so to say. So I don't mind if there's a bit of foundation in there. And like what I was doing was putting one of the boosters or the primer, whatever you want, just one of those, and put that, did that go in? Put that in with the blusher, and then do what I did when I was mixing the two foundations. On the low setting, cover the top, pull this back so you can hear it bubble and you can see the bubbles, and that just helps mix that blusher, and it just waters it down a bit, so it's not going to be so harsh on the face. So you need this on the low setting, which is pressing the button 3 times on the Pro system, and then hold it back. Do what I said again, and almost start like rotating your hand before you even pull back on this thing. I kind of smile so that it'll hit my cheek there before anywhere else. And slowly pull back. I don't know, can you see that there? Now this does take, I shouldn't have touched that, because if you touch it when it's wet, it's really hard to fix. Airbrush foundation is not meant to be, you know, messed with hands or brushes really, but let's do that again. That's nearly at the end. But you can probably see there's just a nice light pink. If I didn't dilute that down, it was like this really strong raspberry colour on me, which didn't suit, but it would probably suit deeper skin tones. So, you know, that's fine. So I'll just turn that off again. So I'm just going to give quickly my thoughts on this, because between showing what came with it and the demo, it's a really long video. The price of the foundation, or of the entire kit, and the starter kit comes with 4 foundations, which in my case was the number 2, 3, 4 and 5 of the light like fair skin foundations which were too dark. It comes with the Makeup System cleaning bottle, which was this, but it didn't come with any alcohol or water in it. You have to do that yourself. It came with the blusher, which is the guy I just showed in the demo, and it came with the bronzer, which it's just exactly what it says. It's a bronzer. I haven't really tried it too much, so I may go over this when I eventually do a video showing the eyeshadows. The eyeshadows don't necessarily come with this kit. They were just sent to me separately. And then it comes with the Moist Primer and the Glow. So I quite like the Glow. I think it really actually does give a nice glow to your skin. And okay, so besides that, the kit itself is $309, basically $310 US dollars. So it's not the cheapest thing in the world, so it's definitely good if you're really serious about, you know, getting into airbrushing and trying to learn from it, or you're a professional, or you have enough money to knock around to get it. So just be aware of the price. It's nice and compact, so in the actual wee bag that it comes in, there is space to put in, like, you know, some of your foundations and the bits that come with it, and say mascara or whatever, so you could use it when you are traveling. But like I said, beware if you're ordering it. If you're from the US, order from the US site obviously, and then from Europe, try and get it from the UK website, because, you know, because of the connection that comes with it. Be aware that it can make the fuzz on your face look a bit more obvious if you have some. Now, I'm not saying I look ridiculously bad, because now that it's settled, it's not so bad. And like, once it's dry, and you really have to let everything dry, it takes a couple of minutes really for it to dry fully, because there's even a tiny bit of transfer there. You can just almost pat down the hairs a tiny bit yourself. Now, I would require some more concealer, because airbrush foundation, even with 3 passes, I still find this isn't a full coverage. Now, it gives a nice coverage and it does even everything out, but there's still, because I have, you know, I'm a picker, which I know I shouldn't, but because I have some really bad obvious blemishes at the moment, they do require concealing. So what I would advise there is conceal first, and then go over it with the airbrush, because it's not like you're using a brush afterwards and you're going to wipe away the concealer. This will just sit on top. And then use your under eye concealer separately. Now, you can get an under eye concealer from the Luminess website as well. It's just kind of like you know, a wand concealer that you can get anywhere. So it's in the video it says that you can put it on afterwards. Put it on before, it doesn't really matter, because you wouldn't really be putting this around the eye area. It's definitely, it is a nice finish, but I wouldn't say it's one for a hardcore covering up. The only thing I wish it came with was, I see that they do have it for other systems, but I wish there was a little stand for this to sit on when you're not using it, because at the moment I don't really have anything to sit it on, unless you're kind of creative and you sit it in here a wee bit somehow and prop it up, because if you need to put it down for a minute but you have stuff in the cup, of course it can go sideways and fall over, so you just kind of have to be careful and just lay it against something so that it doesn't topple over. I think that's the main issue on it. So it's definitely a nice wee system. It has everything. It's really compact. It's great for practicing. I plan on practicing it, even though I feel that you know, it's going to make me want to take care of any wee fuzz on my face. It's definitely something I want to practice more with and get more used to, and it'd be great to have in my professional kit. I personally don't think the price is too much, looking at it from a professional point of view, for what it is. And that's pretty much all I can say about it, which was more than enough, and I'm sure you're bored to death after watching me for this long, but I hope that was thorough enough just to let you know about how it works and what it does, and the pros and the cons and all that. So I'll post a picture of either side of my face, obviously, on my blog as well, so you can see that at LetzMakeup.com, and any other information and links to the Luminess store will be on my website as well. So I'll chat to you all really soon, guys. Thanks a million for watching. So on.